There are certain moments in the never-ending saga of Meghan Markle, the British press, and the cultural battlegrounds that surround her where the timing becomes the story, where the reaction becomes bigger than the product, and where the media frenzy tells you far more about them than it does about Meghan. And this week, Meghan Markle's latest as ever launch her new limited edition chocolate bars became exactly that kind of moment. Because on the surface, this should have been simple. A festive product drop, a handcrafted collaboration with a respected chocolatier. A small, joyful moment from a woman who has redefined herself away from the constraints of the monarchy and toward a lifestyle brand built on nostalgia, craft, and warmth. But the British media has never allowed Meghan anything simple. Not a recipe, not a candle, not a jar of jam, not even chocolate. Instead, the moment Meghan posted a glossy Instagram clip of her limited edition bars. The same bars she previewed inside her Netflix Christmas special critics were already primed, already sharpening their pens, already prepared to turn a sweet holiday chocolate drop into yet another scandal, another stick to beat her with, another reason to paint her as unlikable. And yet, ironically, the bars sold out in minutes. This contrast between what the media says about Meghan and what the public actually does has become one of the defining themes of the Meghan Markle narrative. The product drop that set off a media storm. In the video, Meghan is beaming genuinely, not royal protocol polite, not press-trained perfect, just a woman excited about a creative project she built herself. Set to "I see it, I like it, I want it," the clip shows artisan chocolate being wrapped in botanical print paper. While the media pounced on the timing, the public noticed something else entirely. How relaxed she looked, how comfortable, how independent. The flavours were unmistakably Meghan. Dark chocolate with raspberry spread and sea salt, white chocolate with flower sprinkles and hemp hearts, milk chocolate with shortbread cookies and bee pollen. These are not mass-market generic chocolates. These are ingredients that came from the as-ever identity raspberry spreads, edible flower sprinkles, nostalgic textures, sensory details that match the brand she launched earlier in the year. She partnered with Jonathan Graham of Compartee, an award-winning, highly respected chocolatier, not some random corporate white label factory. The packaging was bespoke, the flavours were curated, and the price point, $12, was right in line with premium small-batch artisan chocolate globally. In any normal world, the media reaction should have been Meghan launches holiday chocolates, sells out. But the media has long abandoned normal when it comes to Meghan. Instead, they attempted to bury the product story under two narratives they knew would sting: criticism of her Netflix special and the sudden news of her father's hospitalization. The two-front media attack: timing, manipulation, and manufactured outrage. Let's start with the Netflix special criticism, because this one has become predictable. Before the special even aired, UK tabloids had already prepared the narrative. It'll be boring, fake, sugary, performative. No matter what Meghan produced, the outcome was predetermined. After all, the same critics who now call her self-obsessed also said in 2018 that she should open up more. The same outlets who said she doesn't have a brand now say she has too much of one. The same voices who claimed she does nothing now complain she's doing too much. This is why Meghan cannot win with the UK press. They don't report on her. They define her, and the definition never changes. So, the moment the special aired, reviewers lined up to deliver their pre-written sound bites. Numbing content. 0 stars. Quite mad and a little bit sad. Unlikable. Lacks self-awareness. syrupy hypocrisy. Notice something. Not one of them critiques the actual content with real depth. There's no analysis of production quality, narrative arc, cinematography, branding strategy, guest dynamics, or even recipe execution. What they critique is Meghan herself, her face, her personality, her tone, her existence. And when a critic says Meghan lacks self-awareness, what they really mean is she refuses to behave the way they want her to. The convenient timing of the Thomas Markle story. Then came the second wave of the media strategy, using Thomas Markle's hospitalization to overshadow the chocolate launch. The Daily Mail dropped the exclusive very conveniently hours after her Netflix episode premiered, and just as her chocolate bars were selling out. Suddenly, the headlines shifted from chocolate and creativity to, "Why hasn't Meghan commented? Will she reach out? Was their estrangement worth it?" This is the same media that spent years platforming Thomas Markle to attack his own daughter, now positioning him as a sympathetic figure to guilt Meghan during the most critical moment of her product launch. What's cruel is that Markle's medical condition to undermine her, the public response proves something the media refuses to acknowledge. There is a real market for Meghan's voice, Meghan's aesthetic, Meghan's creativity and Meghan's brand. The chocolate bars sold out within minutes because her supporters buy what she makes. The lifestyle market respects her collaborations. People resonate with authenticity, nostalgia and craft. The media narrative doesn't match public behavior. Critics want to portray her as irrelevant. But you don't sell out artisan chocolates in minutes if you're irrelevant. You don't get multiple Netflix renewals. You don't build a multi-product lifestyle brand. You don't trend globally every time you post. The media insists she's failing, but the consumer market says she's thriving. This contradiction has become one of the most fascinating and telling dynamics in the entire Meghan narrative. The Netflix special, What Critics Refuse to See. In the special, viewers saw glimpses of the chocolate production behind the scenes, something the critics conveniently ignored. We saw Meghan experimenting with textures, explaining nostalgic flavors, hand-mixing ingredients, showing personal stories, talking about childhood memories, sharing sentimental recipes like reindeer chow. But critics reduced all of this to unlikable. Why? Because if they admit the special is charming, warm or creative, they lose one of their most profitable narratives, that Meghan is inherently fake. These outlets have spent 7 years building that reputation. They cannot allow anything that contradicts it. And so, instead of discussing the work, they attack the woman. And that's where we'll leave it for today, because if there's one thing this week has exposed yet again, it's the widening gap between what the media says about Meghan Markle and what people actually see when they watch her, support her, or buy her work. The critics can shout. The tabloids can twist. The commentators can recycle the same tired narratives. But the numbers don't lie. The sold-out products don't lie. The global interest doesn't lie. And Meghan's ability to build, create and move forward, regardless of the noise, does not lie. What we saw this week wasn't a media failure for Meghan. It was a media failure for the outlets who still think attacking her is an easy win. It was a failure for the people who underestimate her audience, her reach, and her business instincts. It was a failure for a press machine that still hasn't figured out that Meghan doesn't need their approval to succeed. Meghan is building something bigger than a TV episode, bigger than a product line, bigger than a headline. She's building a brand rooted in identity, nostalgia, creativity and independence, One that thrives precisely because it isn't trapped inside the palace walls or defined by tabloid approval. And as long as she keeps creating, innovating and living on her own terms, the media will keep exposing themselves every time they try to tear her down. Thank you for watching today's deep dive on the Sussex Insights. If you enjoyed this breakdown and want to stay updated on the stories the mainstream press won't tell truthfully, make sure you're subscribed, turn on your notifications and leave your thoughts in the comments below. Because here we don't just follow the headlines, we expose the agenda behind them. I'm Adriel, and I'll see you in the next one.